Hello, this is Bernie Stone, and I'm here to talk with the Enrons about your new favourite song, Pumpkin Spice Laters.
Leave you alone.
Hello and welcome to your new favourite song, a podcast brought to you by the Enrons, where each week we will feature a recently released song from an independent artist. My name is Bernard Ennis and I will be your host. Today I'll be speaking to multi-instrumentalist, composer, producer and other Bernard Phillips from the Bernie Stone about their recent release, Pumpkin Spice Laters. Hi Bernard.
Hi Bernard.
It wasn't an echo. I think I can't remember the last time I spoke to somebody called Bernard, so it's a bit of a novelty.
No, I think I've said before, the only other Bernards I've ever really interacted with in my life have been old men and dogs. So it's nice to actually speak with
Well, I'm not a dog.
No, I did.
Old is definitely something that, well, I don't think I'm old yet, but I'm getting there. So, Bernard, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's been going on in your life, and where are you from, what you do, and all that kind of stuff. So, introduce yourself a little bit.
So, I mean, like everybody else, really, all the other artists and creatives during the lockdown, I've found a lot more time to pursue things that maybe I hadn't spent so much time on before. So there's been a lot more music focus on the music this year for me. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Pumpkin Spice from the Teapot Factory, which was released earlier in the year, a collaboration between me and Amutha.
Amutha is the vocalist?
Yeah, the vocalist, and had a lot of hand in the production as well of these tracks. She's based in Australia, and I'm in the UK, so obviously there's a big time difference, which worked in our favour and I suppose against us in ways. One could be working on ideas and working on the tunes, and the other one's fast asleep. And then by the time they wake up, there's something fresh to come back to, and you could kind of the flow worked in that way, but we just couldn't have the constant feedback kind of going back and forth. But I mean, that it was a brilliant collaboration. The way it came about as well. A lot of people sort of mentioned Submit Hub.
Yeah.
I know a lot of us musicians have met through that website, and for me and Amutha, that's how it was. I was just sort of on that site one night and come across her video. Everything Will Be. For specifically the first song, Under the Earth. And it just sort of blew me away, really. I hadn't heard anything like it on the site. Sent my feedback, and we just got chatting from there, and she suggested a collaboration.
Okay.
And the rest is history. Little Teapots were born.
So before we get into that, I want to ask you the icebreaker questions. The first one is, what childish things do you still do as an adult?
Oh, where do I start? I mean, I'm 30. I've just turned 30, and I've found it hard, to be honest, for the last decade to come to terms with being an adult. I've got 3 kids, you could say holding on to the music, and the fact that I've just released an EP called The Teapot Factory is a prime example of that.
I mean, as well, obviously.
We'll get to that, but that's a future project. But the Teapot Factory, actually, that phrase, it's straight from my childhood. I mean, half my life ago, I came up with that as a spoof band name in school. And it was always something I kind of wanted to use. I ended up using it as an email address, I think, back in MSN Messenger days. A long time ago, yeah. It was about 15 years ago, at the age of 15. So I'd say that's a prime example, really. Even things that I carry into the musical projects I'm doing today. some of the music I would listen to back then. Maybe I mean, the songs that I would consider guilty pleasures as a child, but loads. But I mean, like just things that aren't really seen as cool, but I always really liked them. And you just get more comfortable with it as you get older. I actually own that about you. I'm going off on a bit of a tangent now, but
you've just given me an idea for a new icebreaker question, and which song is your guilty pleasure?
Guilty pleasure. I mean, this one's not from a childhood, but I'd say it's a very unfashionable one to like. Do you know Fiddler's Dram?
No.
Didn't we have a lovely time?
We went
the
to
day
Bangor.
we went to Bangor. I absolutely love that tune. I don't know what it is. It's just
God, I remember when that. I mean, I'm old
head,
enough to remember when that came out, when that was released.
Yeah. Well, I'd say lucky you. You know, I wish I was there the first time around.
I mean, oh man, yeah.
It's quite something.
That is actually a brilliant song, and I am definitely going to put that in the show notes. If that is on Spotify, it's going to get some hit. It is.
It is, yeah.
Oh, God.
I'll guarantee you that, mate. I've got it on one of my playlists, actually. It's beautiful bit of musicianship. Like, you know, they could all play the instruments and actually sing, and that's what I love about, you know, music from that kind of period in time, and it's what I'm trying to really capture in my stuff and collaboration, especially the collaboration I'm doing at the moment.
And which is the collaboration with?
With Alexander Bezeshkian,
who we interviewed last week.
Alexander the Great. Yes.
Yeah, because this is the second part of a 3-part series, because we're going to we've interviewed Alex, and then we've interviewed you today, and then next week we've got an interview of the both of you talking about your new collaboration, right?
Earthly Delights, I think is the name we're going with at the
okay.
moment. Sort of 7-track EP, loosely based around cosmic ice cream men, ice cream creatures that we've created over the last month. I mean, the first, middle, and the last track have references to ice cream and kind of direct in the lyrics. Other than that, it's very loose around it. But this is the first demo. Ended up being Ice Cream Lady, and we just went from there, really. And it's been really inspired, bouncing ideas off each other and coming up with artwork, animations, and little things that I'd not really spent a great deal of time trying to do until now, but find myself spending hours working on like an ice cream lady on Photoshop, and actually really enjoying it, and finding ways that it will fit into the project. So over the last month, we've managed to build up this collection of crazy characters. We've got about 7 songs, so I say we're nearly there. We're nearly ready
That's
to
quite a lot
release.
of work.
Yeah, it's just been really easy. I wouldn't consider it work at all. It's been a pleasure. The kind of music that I've wanted to make for a long time. Really trying to sort of pay tribute to my influences and not overthink the details, the production. Just try and get it almost sounding like a real band would, even though it's 2 guys, you know, remotely collaborating, and the backbeat is going to be a drum loop, but really trying to get it to sound like
real instruments.
You know, it could have been real, because the majority of it is real. But
I'm gonna go straight through to the song then, because I mean, Pumpkin Spice Laters is your production, and Mutha did the vocals.
Mutha's got a couple of albums out. Mood and Everything Will Be, fantastic albums. Just really, they struck a chord with me, let's say. And there's something about the 3rd track on each album that kind of had this theme, almost like an Eastern theme, and the beat. There was similarities in the beat, and I thought I'd wanted to kind of keep that going with this project. We'd done 2 tracks already, and we're on to the 3rd track. and I suggested that we try and kind of do something that is like part three of part three. Do you
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
the third of the third.
Track three, and then yeah. And she liked the idea, and right, I'm just trying to remember who came up with what first, because with this collaboration, like I say, it wasn't very often that we would be sort of awake at the same time and able to have a proper conversation online. So it was really one of us would send an idea, and then a few hours later, the other one would build on that, and we just keep sending them back and forth. But I think I started with a beat on this one, and she came back with some instrumentals, and then I ended up recording quite a few acoustic parts on this one. Yeah. There's a zither that I tuned into a kind of Eastern sounding. I couldn't tell you the notes, but it just sounded right. I've got a singing bowl going on in there. A singing bowl.
Singing bowl.
A singing bowl, yeah, just a little one. You've got it's a little metal bowl. Strike it with a wooden beater on the side, and then kind of run it around the edge, and it just creates this sustained note.
Right, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. If you can hear it in there, you wouldn't know really unless no one's really sort of picked it out, but it is there.
Yeah, but it's got this really high overtones, isn't it? It's like this really high.
Yeah, and you'll hear it in the song if you listen out for it. It's in.
Where is it, or more or less?
I think if you focus on the bits where it's destiny, where that's destiny is calling, when that is sung, there's a note that starts ringing out. It's in there throughout, but there's a bit of recorder, there's some bamboo flute, there's acoustic guitar layers. And yeah, I just really wanted to try and capture the same kind of theme I'd heard on the previous track threes from her albums. And it didn't quite end up how I'd originally intended, but I think that was a really great song we ended up with. I mean, when she'd started adding the vocals, it was just like, wow, taking things to another level. And I sort of built on her vocals and tried to come up with some backing. And actually, this project really, I grew a lot in confidence with my vocals recording this project. Because usually I'd done a lot of instrumentals before anyway. There's a few songs where I take the lead vocal and some where I'm kind of chanting and things like that. But doing this project, I really tried to get a lot more backing vocal to complement her, because she's such a great singer. I felt like I had to step my game up really. It's not so bad when I'm recording on my own, because I could sing out a tune and then make everything else fit with that. But here I'm having to complement a very good singer, so it kind of forced me to step my game up a bit.
But you've not got any lead vocal on that song, or?
Not the lead, but I've just got a little bit of backing on there. Just backing her up on certain phrases.
Okay, and where can we hear Bernard in that song?
Like Destiny is Calling. You can hear me singing that, Destiny is Calling. Same with the singing bowl, so just listen out for that
line, and then
you want to hear Bernie, yeah.
Destiny is calling you closer, come near. Destiny is calling you closer, come near.
Most of the instrumentation on that track is me. Amutha came up with some of the really good electronic percussion bits in that tune, and some of the synth elements. But I think, if overall from that project, that's a really good example of us kind of trying to combine our styles, not create something that is leaning heavily towards one or the other. It was a good kind of compromise, I think. good showcase of what we can both
Yeah,
do.
yeah. I mean, because you put a lot of real instruments on there, but you also use samples and stuff like that on there. On that song.
Yeah. So there is a programmed drum beat as the main beat in that tune, and because obviously she's I think she's Ableton, and I do use Reason quite a lot to produce beats. That's kind of what I started on. So there is there's a little bit of sampling going on, but it's mostly the real instruments. And if there is sampling, it's sampling of a real instrument. A little bit of synth.
That I was talking to Michael Gilbride from Telco from quite a few episodes ago, and I think what he's done is taken like a sample of a I think real guitar and arpeggiated it on a piano or some kind of. It was a bit vague because he didn't really know himself very much, but it sounds like that song sounds like a garage band kind of loop, but it's played on a real guitar.
Yeah.
But it's probably not played because I mean, it's almost impossible to play on a guitar that song. So they probably use. And I was just thinking, have you done anything like that? Like taken a real instrument, sampled it, and done kind of some of MIDI track on it?
Absolutely, yeah. I've done that plenty of times. Some of my favourite songs, actually, they're just unreleased things, but some of my favourite bits I've done actually have been from my own sampled guitar playing, and I've put it into Reason, put a really heavy electronic beat over it, and turned it into something completely different. I'll have to send you a link or something.
Yeah.
But it's heavy stuff, a lot of it. But yeah, I've definitely done that. I've even started putting together my own sample pack actually before this EP project kind of got underway. So I started recording because I record a lot of my own percussion and flutes and guitars anyway. So I thought, well, if I compile this, then I can do just what you're saying, use them as samples, and it might be helpful rather than having to play everything for demos and build on that. I can stick my headphones on and I don't have to play all of these acoustic instruments. I can just program something and then maybe come back again later to record it properly.
Yeah.
So that was kind of had that in mind as well. But yeah, I've got a sample pack underway. So I've got the full range of a bass guitar, electric bass guitar sampled, which is really useful.
That's pretty cool.
I've sampled my guitar in the past and charango and things like that. But yeah, I've got all of my percussion instruments, the jingle stick, the shakers, the bongos. I've got samples of all of that, didgeridoo and everything. So,
cool.
Yeah,
Whoa.
to answer your question, yes.
Whoa, you total beast. I mean that sample pack. I mean, you're gonna is that just for you to use, or are you gonna? Or would you make it available for anybody else to use? I mean, that'd be really cool. Didgeridoo.
I'd love to share it. Yeah, if there was interest, if people wanted to have a go with the sounds, I'd absolutely would love to share it. And it wouldn't be professional standard. I'm only using the microphones I've got here at home.
Yeah.
But it's Bernie Stone sounds, I suppose, and yeah, I would love to share it eventually. That's the idea. I use it for myself, and if anybody else wants to, then yeah, I'd like them to.
Yeah, if somebody wants to get hold of it, what do they just do? Just send you an email, or
Yeah, just talk to me. The Bernie Stone. I'm on Instagram quite often. Send me a message on there.
yeah, I'll put the Instagram
sort
links
something
will all
out.
be in the show notes. So Instagram's a place to get hold of you. Then probably the best one.
Yeah, that's where I'm most active
Yeah,
these days. Yeah.
Oh, cool, man. Oh, yeah. Go for some of that. Send me a copy.
Yeah, no, I'll sort you out, definitely. I'll sort you out. Give me some feedback on that. But it's coming along. I've got a few bits more to collect that I'd like to collect for sure. But there's some bits that can be used in there, definitely.
Cool, man. Wow, well, brilliant. I'm going to be a multi-instrumentalist on my Ableton Live.
Yeah, there you go. Now you can all live your dreams through my samples.
And of course, if you do use Bernie samples, you have to credit him, of course. Huh?
Oh, of course,
You
yeah.
have to say this
Yeah.
is Bernie Stone's sample pack.
That's all I'd ask, but I'd just love to hear what other people can do with it, because there's so many creative people
Yeah.
out there that think in different ways about the music they're making. But it all starts with a sound, and I'd love to hear what people can do with mine.
Yeah. So I mean, so you've done all of the recording for Pumpkin Spice Laters. That's all done at home, or is that also, have you done that in a studio? I mean, you said you haven't got professional quality mics or something at home.
Yeah, so everything you'll hear online, every Bernie Stone song, it's all done at home. It's all been done at home on my modest recording setup here. I've got a Behringer condenser, the C1. This microphone that I'm talking through now, the Dynamic AKG something or other. Just run it into a Behringer interface, and I use Reaper
Yeah.
to record everything. Brilliant program. Recommend it to anybody. The stock plugins, absolutely free VSTs on there, are just great. That's all I ever really use. I don't really download any other plugins or pay for things as much as I can
Yeah.
help it. But yeah, it's all entirely done at home. Yeah, plugins on the computer and acoustic recordings.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I mean, when I listen to it, I mean, Alex said last week when I spoke to him that he did his song on GarageBand, and
Yeah.
it's like
Unbelievable.
unbelievable. If you and you're saying you've got some, not super high end stuff, and and the quality that's coming out of it is just amazing. I was contacted with a couple of studio guys, and through Facebook, and that's one thing they
Yeah.
say is, well, you just don't need it all. Gear is not the most important thing.
No, I think there is a thought trap really for musicians. Myself, for a long time, I thought that what's missing in my music. Well, I need to get better gear, and I think a lot of people can end up thinking
Yeah.
like that, when actually you just got to work on your songwriting or your performance, because no matter what you're recording on, that's what's going to shine through at the end of the day. You've got a good song,
Yeah.
then it's going to record well.
I think what they
Whatever, even if you do it on a
Yeah.
phone or something like.
Yeah, I think what they say is something like 80% of the final production is the performance.
Yeah. I mean, look at the thing is, the technology has improved so much in the last even say 100 years, and it's shifted from the focus on the performance, being able to capture that first take, to you can just polish everything in the studio and do as many takes as you like, comp it, auto tune it afterwards. The focus is just shifted. But if you still have that mentality of getting the first take right and having a good song that just people want to hear, whether it's badly recorded or there's too much mid or whatever. I mean, a lot of people don't even listen to music and think about the specifics like we do as artists and producers. We're always thinking of the technical aspects of it and critical of our own productions, but the listeners aren't really thinking about that, and you're just listening to the song. So
Yeah.
just try and make a good song, really.
Yeah, try and connect to, or make people feel something. That's, I think, though, is the most important thing when you're writing a song.
Yeah, and just being able to capture really that you're feeling something from it. I don't know if that makes sense, but just to translate your own enjoyment that you get from making it, to try and translate that across to the person who's going to hear it.
So, I mean, how was that? I mean, you're saying that's translation, but I mean, in your case, you've done a collaboration with somebody on the other side of the world. So you're also trying to communicate something during the writing process and the creative process to one another, so that you can,
Yeah.
I mean, that must be really, how did that work?
Oh, well, you can't really explain it, but I mean, you've just articulated it quite nicely, actually. I didn't really think of it like that so much, that you're showing your influences, you're just showing one another what you're capable of and bouncing these ideas. And I don't know, it's just, I can't explain it, but that's the beauty of it, though, really.
Yeah. and then now you're going to start another collaboration, or you've already started another collaboration.
Nearly finished.
Nearly finished. So, I mean, can you tell us a little bit about that? Because that's going to lead on to obviously the next session or the next interview is going to be with you and Alex together, talking about this song. But
Oh yeah.
so just give us a little bit of a sneaky peek at what we can expect.
Right. Well, you can expect plenty of ice cream references, dreamy, chorusy sounds, kind of 70s, 80s vibes. Just you can just try and follow the story a little bit. Try and follow the story. Get involved with with all the ice cream. I mean, what can you expect? We're going to be putting it out and starting promoting it soon, and I've already tried to give a little sneak peek to people on Instagram, and you might have seen the ice cream truck. We've got a custom ice cream truck.
Yeah, I've seen the ice cream truck already.
I think it's been spotted in all sorts of places, really, and what I'd like to do is get people involved in their own sort of just to try and get this kind of marketing campaign naturally going. Get people involved in doing their own, really. So put that ice cream truck somewhere with a green screen or whatever, and then it's free for people to Photoshop it in wherever they like, and then hopefully we can get a bit of a campaign going in that way. In terms of the music, just expect something that is paying tribute to our influences, which is mostly, well, for this record, it's quite soulful, funky. We're not. There's not a lot of distortion on there.
Yeah. We're
just trying to just capture a nice dreamy chorusy vibe. Keep things in the same theme. I mean, we've got 7 songs, and pretty much 5 of them, Alex has written most of the lyrics and kind of music for, and then there's 2 that I've kind of done most of that from way. So I'm never really able to explain it. I just hope that people will listen to it and give it a chance, and hopefully enjoy it when it does come around.
Yeah, so I mean, if we come back to something like Pumpkin Spice Laters, that's not something that you could maybe explain.
No, and if you watch, there's a music video that Musa put together for it as well, and I could not explain that, even if I tried to just describe it shot for shot, I couldn't, because it would blow my own mind just recalling it. It's not supposed to make sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's not supposed to be something you can just read from start to finish. It's just something to be experienced and take from it what you can, really. We're not taking ourselves too seriously. We're not trying to change the world. We're just having fun, really, and sharing that with the rest of you. So.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about it is you've got this kind of exotic Phrygian scale going on in there, which is the diminished second chord, which gives you the very Arabic or Eastern kind of vibe. Then you've got this going on, which is also kind of, you can almost see somebody belly dancing in the desert to it. So it's it's my take on it. So
there you go. And I've heard I've had people say about sort of snake charming and things like that, and it's just that scale, just those few notes. It's such a strong
association,
imagery and association from that kind of thing. So I love to be able to capture those kind of things. And if you're writing a tune of jamming or whatever, and you stumble across something like that, you want to, if it reminds you of that yourself, or so it evokes an image for you. You want to try and keep that, and that, well, whoever listens to it, then maybe they're going to have a moment like that as well.
I understand that you've fallen from beyond and wound up in a foreign land. No, don't get lost when I leave down and Linda. Hey, desert is calling. Can you please tell me if you'll pick up the phone? Pick up the phone.
I mean, is that something you consciously communicated to one another when you were doing this song, or is it just something you came up with?
I honestly, I wish I could remember like exactly in a timeline of events, because it's it's a great song, and I love the way it's come together. But I open up the project file now, even, and I get a bit lost.
Yeah.
We didn't really discuss the finer details too much. Like, anytime she would make progress on a song, it would be quite a big chunk of it done.
Yeah.
There would be a lot of vocal there for me to add some backing to, and any suggestions we would give to each other wouldn't be to change anything too drastically. Really, I wouldn't advise to, we want to go with this feeling or this. We just worked on what each other had kind of started. Really.
And did you actually speak to one another, or have any kind of, or was it all via email?
Yeah, just on Instagram, just speaking to each other on Instagram, really. We would chat a lot about music and other things.
Yeah.
To be honest, more than the music we're actually working on together. Just kind of let each other do their thing, and I don't know. I just enjoy the whole process, really, because every time I would get sent her version, it would just be like, wow, this is really great what you've added to it. I'm going to try and add this now. Okay, yeah, brilliant, can't wait to hear it. And then it just go like that. There was never really too much of a formal structure to it all.
Sounds like it's like a musical dialogue between you,
Yeah. And we just when you both kind of feel like, well, that's done, we just had to agree at what point we can stop adding things to it, really. And
then when you've come to the end, you've made this progress, and you kind of said, right, and now it's finished. Did you have this idea? Well, okay, now I've got does that finished thing match your original kind of idea of the song?
Well, I mean, the whole project, really, I don't know. I had no idea how any of it was going to turn out, and from the first track that we really worked on, I was just surprised, really, and relieved almost that I was getting good feedback on my suggestions and the bits I'd added, and actually that the idea I'd sent over could be built on. But there was never, I don't know, for me anyway, if I have got a vision, say a vision, but I mean, you can't see a song, can you? But when you hear it in your head, kind of how you want it to be, it rarely ever turns out like that for me, to be honest. And that's just been a part of the journey, really, of making music, trying to get what I'm hearing in my head and what I'm thinking about to actually be able to produce that with the instruments and on the computer. It's not something I'm often able to do.
Yeah.
So, there's never really a solid idea of what this EP was going to sound like.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about this song, you said you wanted this song to be kind of the third in a series of third songs on an EP. So in that respect, does it kind of fit in the line of third songs on?
Kind of. It kind of does. It doesn't, not quite how I'd originally imagined that it would. There's like the beat in particular. The beat. If you listen to the third tracks on her other albums, I think one of them's called Master of Illusion, and there's big similarities with that one actually. Just some of the little bell sounds and the beat. Yeah, I mean,
happy with it.
Yeah, well, happy with it. Definitely happy with it. I didn't think we were going to end up doing this crazy music video for it as well, and that was just another side of it that it's just an unexpected, a nice surprise, really, with the whole project. It had me recording myself miming to the song at 1 a.m. in the morning and sending it over. I mean, this was one of the rare times we were online at the same time. And then I sent the footage over. Next thing I know, I'm prancing around on a spaceship with robot legs playing the keyboard. So no, I didn't see that coming, Bernard. I didn't ever plan for that. And if you haven't checked out the video already, then that should really encourage you to do so. Okay, because who wouldn't want to see Bernie Stone with robot legs prancing around on a spaceship playing the keyboard? Pumpkin Spice Latest.
Pumpkin Spice Latest. You heard it here. Right. Okay. So what's, apart from the collaboration with Alex, which obviously we're going to talk about next week a little bit more, what else is in the pipeline for Bernie?
I have got a lot of solo songs I'd like to finish and put out on an album. I've got about 20 songs probably in a similar vibe. I've got a collaboration I need to finish with, and by the time this podcast airs, I probably will have finished that, to be honest. I've got a song coming with Desai, Samuel Desai.
Okay.
Young lad from America.
And what's that song? What's the song called then?
That's called Jealous.
Jealous.
It's called Jealous. Yeah, and that's a kind of it's a kind of Eastern sound to it, acoustic and electronic elements combined. So you've got a bit of didgeridoo in there. You've got a bit of the didgeridoo in there, and some of my acoustic percussion and guitar and flute, and Samuel Desai on the vocals and some of the production. Yeah, it's a nice little project. So look out for that one. With Amutha, I have actually mentioned I'd like to do an acoustic project with her.
Okay.
Going over some of her old songs and some of the Teapot Factory songs in acoustic arrangements. Just on her album Mood, actually, there's a song called Acoustic Cosmos.
Right.
And I just thought it would be nice to do, if she's up for it, a little album called Acoustic Cosmos with acoustic arrangements of mine and her songs.
Oh, okay.
And it seems to be up for that idea, and I know it's something that we could do, and it would translate really nicely, especially some of her previous songs on her old albums, because it's all kind of produced electronically, but there's a lot of samples she uses of acoustic instruments and percussion, so it's just something I'd really like to do. And that's in the pipeline.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that. What I'd like to ask you is, what's your favourite new song?
This is no bias, but the Enron's Coming Home. Just launched today. I've added it to my weekly 7 playlist.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant. It's the acoustic sound on that tune. I love it. It reminds me a lot of the old band America.
Oh, yeah.
It really has that sort of feel to it, which I like. So I'd say currently that's actually my new favourite song.
Well, I mean, I won't be able to get myself on the. Well, I could do it, but I don't think it would be very interesting to interview myself on the show. But
you've just had two burners. It's too soon.
Just had 2 burners, so I don't think I could cope with another one so soon. So, if we want to get in touch with you, where's the best place? What are the other things? Have you got a Patreon page, or if somebody wants to send you money or support you, what's the best way to do it?
Just look for me at Bernie Stone, really. The Bernie Stone. Bernie Stone. Yeah. I've got a Buy Me a Coffee page, actually, if anyone wants to buy me a coffee.
Oh, right, okay. What's the, where's that?
Let's have a look. I think it's Buy Me a Coffee / Bernie Stone. Let's have a look.
And what's that then, the Buy Me a Coffee?
It's just a little website where you can easily support artists. They call it Buy Me a Coffee because it's like a quick button to send £3, the cost of a coffee.
Oh, right.
To support your artist, give a little message, and hey ho, like that. That's it, really. But buymeacoffee.com/Bernie Stone. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all of that stuff. It's Bernie Stone. There aren't any others, so
yeah, you'll see the artwork anyway. So
yeah, look out for the ice cream truck,
ice cream or teapots,
psychedelic colours, or
yeah,
whatever.
Right, yeah, that's definitely you. That is right. Okay, Bernard, thank you very much, and I'm really looking forward to speaking to you and Alex next week.
Yes, thanks for having me.
It's been a real pleasure, and I've learned quite a lot. So see you next week.
See you next week. Thanks for having me, mate. Looking forward to it.
Destiny is calling you closer. Come
We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come away with an appreciation of the creative process and, more importantly, have found your new favourite song. All of the songs featured in the show are on our Spotify playlist, the Enron's New Favourites, and you can find all the links mentioned in the podcast in the show notes below. Next week will be a double bill of me talking to Bernie and Alex about their collaboration EP, Earthly Delights, and there will also be a live Facebook event where you can talk to them in person. Keep an eye out on our social media for more details. Please send your questions to us ahead of the show via email or message us on Instagram or Facebook. See the links in the show notes. If you enjoyed this podcast, then please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to help us to continue making and growing the podcast as well as releasing new music, then you can either buy us a coffee or become a regular patron. See the show notes for details. If you're not in the financial position to do that, then that's fine. You can also help us out by leaving a rating and a review on iTunes. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps to increase the visibility for us and the artists on the show, and it will benefit us much more than it will be a pain for you. Thanks for listening, and see you next week.